My fiancée was sure I was asleep when she whispered to her friend, "As soon as I get his money, I'll disappear in a month." I pretended I didn't hear anything. But on the wedding day, I sent her one text message. For 10 minutes, my phone was ringing off the hook with her calls. You ever have one of those moments where everything in your life just fractures? 1 minute you're coasting along thinking, this is it. I'm doing okay. And then something happens that rips the floor out from under you. That was me 3 weeks ago. I've been with Ava for 3 years. We met at a friend's housewarming party. My buddy Jake had just bought a place, and I almost didn't go. Long work week, tired as hell, but I showed up late with a 6-pack and left with her number. Ava was smart, hilarious, and had that kind of magnetic charm that draws everyone in without her even trying. She laughed at my dumb jokes. Said she liked that I listened. Looking back, I don't know how much of that was real. We moved in together a little after our first anniversary. It wasn't anything extravagant, a 2-bedroom in an older complex on the edge of the city. Peeling paint, noisy neighbors, sketchy plumbing. But we made it ours. Cooked together. Picked out furniture. Hung framed photos from our beach trip. It felt like building a life. Last year, I finally saved up enough for a ring. I'm not talking bargain bin stuff. I put 3 months' pay into that rock. Handpicked. White gold. Princess cut. I sweated through the whole proposal. She cried. I cried. It was everything you're supposed to hope for. We called our parents, popped champagne, posted the news, full social media explosion. Everything was good until it wasn't. About 6 months ago, I got a raise at work. Nothing insane, just enough to finally breathe a little. Pay down some debt. Think about a starter home instead of renting forever. I was excited. Thought Ava would be too. But instead of celebrating, she started picking at things. Our apartment? Suddenly too small and not presentable. My 5-year-old Camry? Embarrassing. Not the kind of car a husband should drive, she said. I brushed it off at first. Told myself it was just stress. But it kept building. The wedding planning went off the rails fast. We had agreed on something simple, 50 guests, backyard ceremony, local caterer. The usual. But Ava kept revising. Suddenly we were booking a venue that charged by the hour with a live DJ, an open bar, centerpieces that cost more than my monthly car payment. Every time I brought up the budget, she'd get this tight smile and say something like, "It's our one special day, Noah. We can't look cheap." She'd mention her friend Melissa's lavish wedding, how people will compare, how we deserve it. I took extra shifts. Cut into my savings. Because I wanted her to be happy. I really thought we were building something, that this was just a phase. Then came that night. The night that changed everything. It was a Saturday. She had Melissa and 2 other friends over for their monthly girls' night. Wine, gossip, bad reality TV, the usual. I was wiped from work and crashed on the couch around 10. The TV was on low. They were in the kitchen about 15 feet away, chatting and laughing. I wasn't fully asleep, just dozing, scrolling through Reddit. Then I heard my name. I froze. Ava's voice changed, quieter, sharper. Something in her tone made the hairs on my neck stand up. So I stayed still, kept my breathing even, and listened. She was talking about our finances. About my savings. About how after the wedding she'd have access to all of it. "We're doing joint accounts," she said. I remember her laughing, this cruel, careless laugh I didn't recognize. "Honestly, it's been kind of fun seeing how far he'll go," she said. "Guys are so predictable when they think they're in love." And then came the line I can't unhear. "Once I get his money, I'm gone. Month, tops? He's boring as hell now. There are way better options out there." I felt like someone had poured ice water down my spine. I couldn't move. Couldn't breathe. I just lay there while they kept talking like I was some character on a game board, a move she'd already planned 10 steps ahead. Melissa asked about the lease, what about the apartment? And Ava just laughed again. Said as long as one person stayed, there'd be no penalty. "He'll be stuck with the rent and no money," she said. They all laughed. I wanted to sit up. Scream. Tell them to get out. But something stopped me. Maybe it was survival instinct. Maybe it was the tiny voice in my head saying, "You're not ready yet. You need to know everything." So I stayed quiet. They moved on to trash talking some influencer, and I slipped off the couch, pretending I'd just been tired. Ava looked over and smiled like nothing had happened. I told her I wasn't feeling well and went to bed. When she came in later, tried to cuddle up next to me, I flinched. Told her I had a headache. Faced the wall. The next day was hell. Making eggs and toast like my entire reality hadn't just crumbled. Smiling at the woman I now knew was planning to gut me financially and vanish. Ava kept going on about table runners and champagne options while I nodded like a puppet, my mind spinning. Monday morning, I called in sick for the first time in years. When Ava left to meet clients, I got to work. I spent that Monday going through Ava's life like a forensic accountant on a mission. While she was out meeting clients, and yeah, now I fully doubted that meant anything work-related, I was on a mission to uncover the truth. I started with her laptop. I knew the password. Her mom's birthday. She's not exactly creative with stuff like that. What I found inside still makes my stomach turn. There was a second email account. One I'd never seen before. Attached to it? A separate Facebook profile with a last name I didn't recognize, where she posted pictures of herself with another guy. Smiling. Arm around his waist. Tagged at a beach resort we supposedly couldn't afford a few months ago. According to her text to her sister, she told me she was visiting family that weekend. Lie. It got worse. There were credit card statements for cards I didn't know existed in her name, only maxed out at hotels, fancy restaurants, spa weekends. Some of the dates? Times she claimed she was visiting her mom or stuck late at work. There were emails to a guy named Brandon. He called her baby. She called him my escape. And then the smoking gun, photos of my financial statements. Screenshots of my banking app. My investment portfolio. Even a literal photo of the inside of my wallet. She'd taken them while I was sleeping or in the shower, who knows when. There was even a Google Doc titled Post-Wedding Plan, half joke, half roadmap for how to transition her new life. I sat there for a while just staring at the screen. Numb. Like my body didn't know how to feel anymore. Hurt, rage, embarrassment, all of it blurred into one giant wave of what the hell is happening to my life? But I didn't smash her laptop. I didn't confront her. I just started collecting. Took photos of everything with my phone. Forwarded screenshots to my private email. Uploaded files to a secure cloud folder. Then I closed everything, wiped my prints, and put the laptop back exactly where it was. Like nothing happened. By the time Ava came home, I had enough evidence to blow up the whole relationship 5 times over. She walked in holding Starbucks and smiled at me like she hadn't just been planning my financial funeral. You feeling better? She asked. I said I was getting there. She kissed my cheek, handed me a coffee. And I drank it. Because I needed her to think everything was still okay. Later that night, I called Jake. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely hold the phone. When he answered, I couldn't even get the words out at first. He thought someone had died. In a way, someone had. I told him everything. The conversation I overheard. The emails. The photos. Her plans. All of it. Jake's not the kind of guy who gets emotional easily, but I heard him mutter Jesus Christ more times than I could count. His first instinct was to tell me to pack a bag and disappear. Ghost her, he said. Leave her standing at the altar. But I didn't want to disappear. Not yet. See, Ava didn't just lie to me. She played me. She choreographed this entire show, from the romantic proposal she cried through to the wedding she was planning with my savings. And I wasn't going to let her walk away clean. I wanted her to feel it. So I started phase 2. The next morning, she surprised me by making pancakes. My favorite. She even lit a candle. I was immediately suspicious. Midway through breakfast, she looked up at me sweetly and said, I was thinking, maybe this weekend we can go look at houses? I blinked. We're not even married yet. I know, she said, leaning in. I want to build our future. I want us to start that life sooner rather than later. Every word made my skin crawl. Not because of what she said, but because I could now see through her. She was playing a role, laying it on thick, thinking I'd just eat it up. I nodded and smiled. Told her it was a great idea. That week, I ramped up the illusion. I started leaving fake investment statements on the counter. I found a template online and doctored it to show triple the money I actually had. Used some official-looking logos, threw in a few graphs. It was amateur stuff, really. Anyone with financial knowledge would have spotted it a mile away. But Ava wasn't financially savvy. She thought Robin Hood was an actual cartoon character until I opened an account. One afternoon, I left a few of the statements sitting slightly out of place near my laptop. Sure enough, when I came back from the bathroom, they'd been moved. Just enough to know she'd seen them. She never brought them up, but that night, she brought up joint accounts again. She said, you know, after the wedding, it'll be so much easier to manage everything together. I just smiled and said, I agree. Inside, I was making a checklist of every move I needed to make. Over the next few days, Ava became oddly affectionate. Random compliments. Back rubs. Texts in the middle of the day saying she missed me. The same woman who used to roll her eyes when I asked to do something low budget for date night was now playing the doting fiancé. I knew it was all a performance. Because I had the script. The final straw came a few days later when I used her iPad. She asked me to look up a wedding florist while she was on a call. She hadn't logged out of her email. What I found? 3 active dating profiles. All made within the last 6 weeks. The bios were like a punch in the gut. Looking for a successful man who knows how to treat a woman. On one of them, she actually wrote, "Not looking for anything serious, just tired of wasting time on broke boys." I took screenshots. Backed everything up. Then I made an appointment with my bank. Opened a new account. Transferred almost everything except a small cushion to keep her from noticing. Then I went apartment hunting. She had no idea I wasn't just preparing for a wedding. I was preparing for the storm. 2 weeks before the wedding, everything kicked into overdrive. Ava had turned into this hyper-focused bride tornado. Swatches of tablecloths, cake tastings, meetings with the DJ. She was on a mission. I just played along. Nodded in the right places. Pretended to care about the difference between elegant blush and soft rose napkins. Every time I looked at her, I saw the receipts, the dating profiles, the texts to Melissa about ditching me after the wedding. I saw a stranger in my apartment, but I kept the mask on. Behind the scenes, I was moving fast. I'd signed a lease on a small one-bedroom across town. Not as nice as our place, but it was mine. No trace of Ava. I had the keys hidden in my glove compartment. I moved my documents, passport, birth certificate, social security card, to a lockbox at Jake's place. The real ring, I'd already had it appraised and sold it. The cubic zirconia replacement was identical. She'd never know the difference. Every time she kissed me, I had to stop myself from recoiling. I wasn't even angry anymore. Just done. She had no clue. And honestly, the performance she was putting on, it was Oscar level. She talked constantly about our life together. How she couldn't wait to be Mrs. Noah Clark. How she felt so lucky to have me. She even brought up me quitting my job after the wedding to pursue something on your own. That one nearly made me laugh. She wanted me unemployed, dependent, easy to control while she drained what she thought was a gold mine. She wasn't just greedy. She was strategic. And she was about to get blindsided. That week, her mom came into town. I'd always thought Mrs. Reynolds was just a bit snobby. But now I saw the full picture. Over dinner, she kept saying things like, "Ava tells me how stable you are, Noah. It's so good she found someone responsible. Not loving. Not a good match. Just stable. Like I was a human retirement plan." Ava's dad gave me this firm handshake and said, "You're gonna take care of my little girl. That's what a man does." I just smiled. It hit me then. Ava didn't become this way in a vacuum. She learned it. That night, I lay awake staring at the ceiling, Ava breathing softly beside me. I thought about all the little moments that used to mean something. Her laugh when we watched old movies. Her hand slipping into mine on long drives. Late-night takeout on the floor of our empty first apartment. Now I couldn't tell if any of it had ever been real. The next morning, I found a brochure for a luxury car dealership on the kitchen counter. She'd circled a model and written, "Just dreaming, winky face," in the margin. Subtle. The final weekend before the wedding was my bachelor party. Just a chill evening at a bar with Jake and a couple of our mutual friends. No wild stories, no strippers. I barely touched my beer. I needed a clear head. Jake kept asking me if I was sure. "You don't have to go through with this plan, man. You could still just walk." But walking away wouldn't have felt like enough. Ava had been planning to gut me financially and emotionally, then vanish. She thought she'd set the stage for the perfect con. But I wasn't walking away. I was burning the stage down. That Sunday, I finalized everything. Cleaned out what was left of our joint account, leaving just enough to avoid suspicion. Called the venue and spoke to the coordinator, told her to expect a possible cancellation, and asked discreetly about policies. I didn't give details, just said there might be a change of plans. She hesitated but didn't ask questions. Then I wrote the message. The one I'd send Ava the morning of what was supposed to be our wedding. I must have revised it 15 times. It had to be short, sharp, but complete. Not some long emotional monologue. Just facts. Cold. Clear. Final. By the end of the night, I had it saved in my drafts with attachments. Screenshots of her texts, dating profiles, and that audio clip from girls' night, the one where she laughed about draining my accounts. It was all ready. Monday was the rehearsal dinner. We stood there, posing for pictures with smiling faces, surrounded by people who had no idea the whole thing was a ticking bomb. Ava beamed next to me like the happiest bride-to-be on the planet. Her dad gave a speech about how proud he was to welcome me into their family. Her mom teared up. I clinked glasses, thanked people for coming, shook hands, hugged relatives. Inside, I felt absolutely nothing. No nerves, no second thoughts, just quiet, controlled. Later that night, Ava insisted we sleep separately, something about tradition. So I stayed in the guest room. Just me and a ceiling fan spinning slow circles above my head. I didn't sleep. I just waited. At 4 a.m., I got up, packed the last of my things into a duffel bag, tiptoed past Ava's room. She and her bridesmaids had polished off 2 bottles of wine. Judging by the empty glasses on the counter, she didn't stir. By 6 o'clock, I was outside. Jake's car idled at the curb. He looked like he hadn't slept either. I tossed my bag in the back and climbed in. "This it?" he asked. I nodded. "This is it." By 9 a.m., my phone was blowing up. Texts, calls, missed FaceTimes. Ava was in full bride mode, checking on last-minute details, asking if I'd remembered the rings, reminding me to pick up my tux. I replied just enough to not raise suspicion. "Yep, all good. See you soon." At exactly 10:30 a.m. I hit send. The message I'd spent the past 2 weeks crafting. "Ava, I know everything. I overheard you talking with Melissa about your plan to leave after the wedding. I've seen your dating profiles, your hidden credit cards, and the messages to Brandon. The wedding is off. I've moved out. Don't try to find me. The venue has been informed. Your things will stay in the apartment until the end of the month, then management will handle them. The ring? It wasn't real. Guess neither were you. Goodbye." I attached screenshots of the texts, her bios from the dating apps, the spreadsheet she made for her post-wedding transition, and the audio clip from girls' night, her laughing about bleeding me dry. Then I turned my phone on silent and handed it to Jake. I couldn't stomach watching it all come in. We'd agreed I'd check in every 30 minutes. Until then, I was just quiet, detached. 10 minutes later, Jake whistled. "She's not taking this well," he said. Apparently, she started with denial. "Noah, what are you talking about? This isn't funny. Someone must have hacked my stuff." Then came the anger. "You went through my private messages? You had NO, right? This is illegal." Then bargaining. "Please, let's talk. I can explain. Don't throw away everything we built over a misunderstanding." By 11 o'clock, she had called me 27 times. At 11:15, her mom called. Then her dad. Then Melissa. None of them got a reply. At 11:40, Ava started sending voice messages. Jake played one out loud. Her voice was shaky, breathless. "I'm coming to find you. I know you're with Jake." My stomach twisted. I never told her where Jake lived. Then I remembered, we still shared an Uber account. She tracked me. Panic set in for a second. Then I looked at Jake. "We'll face it now," I said. "No more hiding." We poured coffee and waited. At 12:30, her car pulled into the driveway. She got out fast, no makeup, hair mess, still in pajamas. She looked nothing like the woman I'd spent 3 years with. More like someone unraveling. She pounded on the door, shouting my name. Jake looked at me. I nodded. He opened the door. Ava pushed past him and saw me standing in the living room. For a moment, she just froze. Her eyes scanned me, looking for something, maybe softness. A crack. She didn't find it. "Noah," she started, "please, I don't know what you think you." I didn't say anything. Just pulled out my phone and hit play. Her voice filled the room. "Once I get his money, I'm gone in a month. He's boring now. There are way better options out there." Silence. She looked like she'd been slapped. Her mouth opened. Closed. Then came the flood. "It was a joke," she said quickly. "Melissa and I were drunk. We didn't mean any of it." I didn't flinch. She tried again. "Those dating profiles are old. I made them years ago. Before we even met." I raised an eyebrow. "They were made in the last month. One even had a photo from our engagement shoot." Her face flushed. Then came the tears. She collapsed onto the couch, sobbing into her hands, saying she'd made a mistake. That she didn't mean to hurt me. That she got caught up in the wedding stress and started fantasizing about other lives. That it wasn't real. That she loved me. I let her talk. Let her spiral. Then I told her calmly, there are 180 people showing up to a wedding that's not happening today. You might want to start calling them. Her face twisted. You're seriously going to ruin my life like this, she snapped. Humiliate me in front of everyone? I shrugged. I didn't humiliate you. You did that yourself. She stood, pacing now. You think you're so clever? You're just bitter. You'll never find someone like me again. I smiled. Exactly the point. Jake gently walked her to the door. She didn't resist. Just glared at me one last time like she couldn't believe I was actually going through with it. Then she was gone. Just like that. That night, I sat on Jake's couch eating pizza, still in jeans and the same hoodie I'd thrown on that morning. No wedding. No honeymoon. Just space. Quiet. Relief. My phone was off, but my social media wasn't. Ava had already posted a sad selfie with some dramatic caption about betrayal and being blindsided. People were flooding her comments with sympathy. Some mutuals were already choosing sides. I didn't correct them. Let them believe whatever. People who matter will figure out the truth. The next day, I moved into my new place. No decorations, no throw pillows, no fake smiles. Just my stuff. My space. I thought I'd feel empty. Instead, I felt clean. I still get messages from Ava. Different numbers, new accounts. I blocked them all. Jake told me she posted a few vague stories about learning and growing. Whatever helps her sleep at night. Funny part? I'm not even angry anymore. Just tired. Tired, but grateful I got out before it was too late. The ring money? That went into a starting over fund. A little poetic revenge. She never got a diamond and I never got a wife who loved me. I guess that makes us even. Last week, Melissa messaged me. I never liked the way Ava treated you. If you ever want to talk, I'm here. I didn't reply. I'd had enough of people pretending to care after the fact. For now, I'm focusing on myself. Rebuilding. Recovering. Lesson learned. Some people don't fall out of love, they were never in it to begin with.